What's up guys, it's Aaron from Gear Up and welcome to another episode, and I hope this video finds you well. Today we're gonna go back to my roots, baby. Yes, this channel had its beginnings with smartwatches, so we're gonna talk about one today, a new addition or revision to the Ticwatch family, the Ticwatch Pro 2020. This is a revision from the Ticwatch Pro that came out in 2018. It's a Wear OS device. If you're looking for one, this might be the time. Is this a good contender? Let's find out after these messages if this is a worthy upgrade to the original Ticwatch Pro or not. Let's do it. So here is the Ticwatch Pro 2020. It runs $260 and is available in black and silver. The only difference between the two is in the metal bezel. Other than that, they look identical. They come in a pretty nice box, but in the box, there's no additional straps or anything like that. There's just your basic documentation and a 4-pin magnetic charging dock, and that's about it. In terms of specs and dimensions, this 2020 version is a near identical copy with the previous Ticwatch Pro, guys. They're like twins. They share things like the same dual screen technology, IP68 water dust rating, Gorilla Glass 3 at the front. They even weigh the same 58.5 grams without the strap. They even share the same Snapdragon 2100 chip with 4 gigabytes of ROM. So what does the 2020 version bring to the table? Well, there's two additions to it, and one is very notable, one is, well, is a nice to have. So the big one is it's a bump in RAM. The previous one had 512 megabytes of RAM and now it's a healthy 1 gig. So that's super awesome to see and it really changes the experience. And the other one is a certification to mil grade 810G, which is basically certifies the watch for drops and making it more durable, but most consumers probably won't care about that. This is a pretty solid watch nonetheless. Now, let's take a closer look at the watch together, guys, starting with the straps. And this is a hybrid strap. On the front here, you have pleather, which gives it a nice formal look. And on the back side here is PU. So if you're working out, getting sweaty, swimming, this is the ideal layer to have. It is nice and soft against the skin and it's really pliable and it's really, really comfortable and really repels water as well. So that's what it is on this side. It's really well put together. The seams are nice and tight. I've tried digging my fingernails where the sandwiching happens and have not been able to unravel it so far. So it's really well put together. The clasp, unfortunately, is plastic. I wish it was stainless steel. Right here is a notch for this little catch strap right here. See, it sits right there while this thing slides around. But in practice, I think this is in a wrong location. I wish it was a little bit like halfway or further down so these things work in tandem, because I found that the end strap, when it's around your wrist, tends to slide out a lot and really easily. So having these two together really helps things a lot. So I've taken off the straps so that we can better look at the body of the watch. And by the way, the straps are spring-loaded and 22 millimeters across, so it's really easy to find third-party accessories. If you want to customize your straps, there are tons of options out there. So at the top of the watch, in the 12 o'clock position, you see hidden by the strap is the barometric sensor port right there. And on the bottom side, you'd see the speaker port. And by the way, this thing is super, super hefty and heavy. It's one of the heaviest I've tested at 58, nigh on 59 grams. This thing, you really feel it on your wrist because of the materials, I would suppose. This thing is stainless steel, one solid piece right here. And at the bottom, same thing, stainless steel turn cover. And speaking of the weight, I wish this was a little bit more flush. That way the weight would have been more evenly distributed on my wrist. So as you can see where I've worn it, that's where the heart rate sensor plate was sitting. It really creates a hot spot. So basically what I'm saying is if you're a skinny bone like I am, or bony guy like I am, you're probably gonna feel it a whole lot more. If you have a little bit more flesh, this is perfectly fine. By the way, this is the heart rate sensor, sending unit, receiver, charging connectors. And by the way, this bezel does not turn, it's just fixed in place. I wish at least like a diver's watch, you could turn this to set your timer, or at least this could be used like for navigation, but it doesn't. Neither do the buttons do any kind of navigation like the Carlisle from Fossil. All navigation is done via the screen. The buttons are really well made, they do spin, but overall, this watch just imparts, when you look at it, just feels like quality. It feels so solid, really, really well made. I really like this piece, although it is on the thick side. So if you don't like thick watches, bear that in mind. So if you're not familiar with the Ticwatch Pro line of watches, then you probably did not know they have a huge party trick, which is this LCD screen right here, which sits on top of an AMOLED. Yes, it's layered. So this is what Ticwatch calls essential mode. It's a power saving battery option. So when you tap it or press any of the buttons, it activates the AMOLED. And the AMOLED itself, it is nice and bright, very sensitive. The pixel density is spot on. That 1 GB of RAM, I'll tell you what, really makes a huge difference in terms of sensitivity and lag and such like that. It's really, really good. Even though it still has Snapdragon 2100 in this, and some others in the current generation and moved on to the 3100. I think it's not the chip, it's the RAM that makes a huge difference. Now, the LCD mode is where it's the killer, guys. If you want to save battery and just use essential mode, it will take you up to 30 days to kill this watch. Yes, 30 days. So it is really nice. But if you use this in mixed mode, like when this in sleep mode and this being activated, it'll still last you 2 to 5 days of battery life. In actual practice, it lasted me about 3 days with notifications and everything turned on. So it's really, really good. Of course, when you have a GPS on and activity tracking, it drops to around maybe like, if you use it intermittently, like an hour or 2 per day, the battery life lasts or drops to about 1.5 to 2 days, which is still really good compared to a lot of Wear OS and Apple Watch devices out there. So, this is one of the best in terms of battery life. Some other things of note, and I mentioned this earlier, is this device, for better or for worse, runs Wear OS. It also has NFC, so you can do mobile payments. That's very convenient. And since this is a full-blown fitness watch, you can do fitness tracking for many kinds of activities. And there are 2 apps that you can use, both Google Fit and Tic Health, which is directly from Ticwatch. I personally prefer using Tic Health because it seems to meld better with the essential mode. When essential mode is on, remember, it tracks steps and heart rate, and it seems to transfer all that information directly into Tic Health when you go back into smartwatch mode. Google Fit does not pick up on that, so that's one downside to that. In terms of sleep tracking, most smartwatches can't do it, or at least Wear OS can't do it out of the box, but Ticwatch can do it, but you have to download an app that's called Tic Sleep. So bear that in mind. So guys, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like this, please show your support by clicking the subscribe button down below. Mash and kill that button and turn on the bell notification icon as well. Thank you in advance for your support, and also don't forget that I'm trying to get to 5,000 subs, so only you can help me get me there. So thank you in advance. Back to the program. So guys, I'm not sure if you realize this, but when I review things on this channel for you guys, and it might be similar to how you do things as well, is when I look at something new, I create a list in my head of the things that I do like and the things that I don't like, and it's a very comprehensive list. But for the sake of this video and how I get to the end of it, the verdict and the things that I do like and not, I have to pare that down, and I have to apologize that I cannot be more comprehensive than that because it'll make the video super long and super boring. So I tend to pick my favorites and my least favorite things to include in the video and sum it up in that way. So if you have any questions, if you'd like to have a more comprehensive idea of what I thought about a certain thing that I reviewed, feel free to question me or ask me down in the comments down below. So I just thought I wanted to share that. And let's move on to the positives now. So with that said, let's move on to the positives. And the first one of all is something you just cannot ignore with the entire Ticwatch Pro line of smartwatches, which is the dual screen tech. Mobvoi, the parent company of Ticwatch, and also with a really weird sounding name, Mobvoi. Sounds like an alien on Doctor Who, like, I'm Mobvoi from the planet PK1. So anyways, Mobvoi decided to use this technology. They didn't invent it, but they came out with this idea of, hey, we want to extend battery life and listen to the consumers. So it's really nice to see that battery life extends past 2 to 5 days with hybrid use, where Wear OS and Apple Watch with their power-hungry OS as it is barely last a day or day and a half. So it's so nice to see that a watch can last 2 to 3 days or 5 days even. And even when you use the extended battery mode, think about this, just the LCD mode, it extends that to 1 whole month. That's super awesome. One thing that I absolutely love about the LCD screen when it's in essential mode, basically when the smartwatch is completely off and just the LCD screen is active, it's not just bare bones. It doesn't just tell you the time and date. It also tracks your steps and also takes your heart rate whenever you want it. And the cool part is, the best party trick of all is when you power on your smartwatch again, it syncs all that data back up. Oh my goodness, who thought of that? Another positive, and this applies to the entire Ticwatch line pretty much, is they're built like tanks. These guys are just like made of one solid billet of metal. It's just well built. Except for the bottom case though, the bottom cover, which is starting to show a lot of scratches. Everything else is solid. The external parts that people see, man, this thing is built like a tank. So when this watch came out a few months ago, people lamented, why aren't you using the new Snapdragon 3100 chip and sticking instead with a 2100? It's older, it's slower, it's less power efficient, your battery life is probably gonna suck. But Mobvoi decided to keep that with this watch and just increase the RAM. And I've always contended that the RAM, at least in a Wear OS case, is really what you need. The Snapdragon, whatever chip you use, they're good enough, but the RAM is where it's at. So in this case, the usage of this watch, the Ticwatch 2020, is so smooth. It's practically jitter-free. I can use this all the time and barely experience a hiccup. The only time you actually see some kind of lag and slowdown is when you power up the watch or when you install a new app and it's loading up for the first time and everything is loading up and caching. That's the only time you really see it, but other times it's just really smooth. Now, I don't normally talk about third-party apps on Wear OS smartwatches in general, but in this case with the Ticwatch, I want to talk about the Tic Health pre-installed fitness app. This thing is so good compared to the Google Fit app that came along with it as well. When you do a comparison side by side, I love how visual and graphical and instantaneous you can get information on your daily targets with the Tic Health app. Everything is so visual, you can see it all in this radial dial thing or a circle. And when you pan out and look at the whole week, you can also see each target. Just like in one tiny screen, you can see everything, whether you've met the target and compare it from day to day. With Google Fit, I can't tell that information. So kudos to Tic Health for designing a really good app. Alright guys, now let's talk about the negatives. And earlier I mentioned that this thing is built like a tank, right? It has that mil grading of 810G, so it's really durable and all that kind of stuff. But it also brings about a really high weight at 58.5 grams. This thing is nothing to sneeze at, and it's also super thick. So for myself, I wouldn't pick it because it's just really uncomfortable on my wrist. After a while, a couple of hours, it starts to hurt. Some of you may not find that as a problem. You know, you might have thicker hands or something. So, you know, everybody is different. But for me, I wouldn't choose this. And the fact is, if you're looking for a Ticwatch watch and if this is too heavy for you, there exists the 4G LTE model, and the fact that it exists is also a problem for this watch. Because for $30 more, you get 4G connectivity on the watch itself. You can make phone calls, identical specs, same size screen, 1 GB of RAM. Everything is the same, and it's also, get this, 11 grams lighter. So then my next negative has to do with me mentioning the existence of the 4G LTE model, which means the Ticwatch Pro 2020 doesn't make phone calls even though it has a mic and a speaker. So what's up with that? I wish it would have been just at least an extension of the phone, but you can't make phone calls with that. And speaking of microphone, I'm not sure what's up with this watch when I try to invoke Google with its hot word. Yes, I remember to turn it on the watch itself, but every time I used it, it just wouldn't work. I don't know what it is, and I've read people's comments here and there that they are having problems with that too. So maybe it's a software fix. Mobvoi, maybe you can voice something about this. But as it is, the Google hardware doesn't work. The hardware button works fine, but you just cannot invoke it by voice. So now guys, here we are, my final thoughts of the Ticwatch Pro 2020 running Wear OS. What do I think of it? Well, I give it a thumbs up, but with caution. First reason being is if you're a current owner of the Ticwatch Pro from 2018, I don't see a reason for you needing to upgrade unless you like things a little bit more speedy. Secondly, if you like a smartwatch that has really good fitness tracking, long battery life for Wear OS, and just really durable and looks good, I would say go with this watch. This is so good. But if you don't like it being so bulky and if you like cell phone connectivity, go with the 4G LTE model. So, you know, there's tons of options out there that Ticwatch offers, but as it is, the Ticwatch Pro 2020 is a really good watch. I suggest you check it out today. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and I hope you come back next Friday for a new one. And remember to do something nice and kind of loving for somebody this weekend, because there's a lot of people needing your love and only you can make a difference. So I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Until next time. Oh wait, I forgot to do my thing. So if you like to see more content like this and would like to support Gear Up a little bit more, there are a couple ways that you can help. First, you can visit my Patreon page and help support me financially there. Just buy me a cup of coffee or something. And also, if you haven't already, please mash and kill that subscribe button and just kill it. Just kill that button and tell your friends and tell your family and spread the word. And remember to thumbs up if you like this video, yes? Thumbs up and thumbs down. Thumbs down to the latest international craze. It's almost as popular as the hoverboard, which is the destruction of statues. Yes, the destruction of statues that's going on around globally and around the country. There are more statues out there being destroyed than there are being reproduced. So before you know it, I think statues are going to go extinct. Yeah, so that's not a good thing, right? And where are all the pigeons going to sit from now on? So think about that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next episode. Be good and peace out. Whoosh.